Okay, so why would it be an excellent room to be in if this was the zombie apocalypse? We've already said, and I'm going to say them again, so we're on camera. Why is this an excellent room? UD, you had one. Why is this an excellent room to be in when the zombie apocalypse breaks out today?
Network.
Network?
Meaning like the mobile network.
Well, yes, we would have access to the outside world. So that's one big one. We have technology that we could get information about the outside world, at least until the internet system goes down. What else? What are other reasons that this is a great one? We already said in the break, and then I got to turn on my favorite device. We have fresh water. We have access to something which we would all need to survive. It's fine. So yeah, that's another one. We have fresh water. Why else?
There's a lock.
Yeah, there's only one door to get into this room, and it's got a lock on it. Now there's this glass window, which is less than ideal, but if we could move this and just put it in front, this would be a pretty good one. There's only one door. Compare this to other rooms which have a lot more windows.
But also, like, the window helps you kind of see, like, what's going on. So
It does, but I don't trust the zombies not to break through here. So this is definitely not ideal, as there is a window here. But also, though, another good thing, what do we know about zombies? Rate them on the intelligence scale.
0.
They're real dumb. So what do they run off of? Rage and smell, and can they see you at this moment? So what do we have here, which is really useful for the zombies not to know we're here? A wall. It's not glass. They can't see us through the wall. They would have to come. This is our only weak point, and with all these desks and that table, we could make this a pretty decent barricade. And not only that, we could cover the window to keep them out. And human beings can. How many of you have snacks with you right now, by the way? So we've got enough food. A human can survive for like a week without food. You can only survive a few days without water, but with our water supply, we'd survive. This would be a pretty damn good room to be stuck in, compared to the other ones which have no water, have giant windows outside, especially if you're on the first floor. So what is it that we have in this room that the other rooms have less of?
Doors.
Well, yes, we have less doors, which allows us to have less.
Security.
Yeah, we have more security here than we'd have in another room. We have more security. We're not talking cybersecurity or anything. And what does this break down to? What do we have more of that the other rooms don't?
I mean,
like, what are these three big bullet points
well,
from
I know
the
what the
textbook?
bullet point is. I don't know how that necessarily applies, but confidentiality.
What do we mean by confidentiality? Dan, I can't spell it. Confidentiality. What does it mean to be confidential? Private and lack of information. What gives us confidentiality against the zombies? This wall. They can't see us. That's what it is to be confidential. This wall. If this was all glass, or even better, if it wasn't a wall at all, like if this wall just disappeared, we would have no confidentiality because the zombies could smell us and see us and come and get us. What's the second thing we have? Integrity. And integrity here is a weird way because the most common way we use it is something different. But in this sense, it just means things aren't getting affected. So in the case of the zombie apocalypse, what is it to not have integrity?
Them coming in here and eating us.
Yeah, getting eaten. We have integrity over our bodies because the zombies can't eat us through the wall. Which, if this wall wasn't here, if you're like walking down the street, you have a lot less integrity. They can come and they can mess with you and eat you. And then the last one, you don't want complete this, but you want for certain things to be able to get in and out.
Accessibility.
Accessibility. And in this case, we have water access. The water can access us. We have air access. We also have Wi-Fi access, which will be able to give us information.
I just have a question. Is this ironically supposed to be representative of the CIA? Or is that just ironic?
What are you trying to say, Professor?
Oh, I've never even realized that. That's totally, that is clever, but that's definitely the textbook author who was like 2 steps ahead of us. Their job, CIA, very good. Their job is in theory to keep us secure as well. But if that was intentional, it was not my decision, it was the textbook author's decision, in which case I will tip my hat to a funny little thing. But yeah, So confidentiality is just keeping those who we don't want to know what's going on inside something outside of it. We keep our what's going on inside. This is why in your house you have more security if you're behind a wall than if you're behind a window. Other people on the outside can just get more information about you. Integrity is just keeping the things inside the way you want them to be, and nobody else coming inside and changing things. So in this case, it's my arm getting eaten. If it's at home, no robbers are coming in and taking your stuff. And then accessibility is the other side of it. You want to make sure that the stuff that you need on the inside can get inside. So things like water can get into this room. Or if we wanted, imagine that, I don't know, Zombie Rambo were out there. And Zombie Rambo is just like regular Rambo, only all he does is kill zombies. He would be a great person to have in the room with us. And how come he can get in the room and protect us?
Because he's on the outside.
But physically, how can he get in? Yeah, he Rambo's in, we unlock the door, he walks in. I mean, now, if all the zombies, going back to my favorite thing that we talked about last time, if all the zombies, we didn't have to deal with zombie people, but zombie Kool-Aid men, what would be the issue here?
Oh, you would need like the steel wall.
Yeah, this wall wouldn't be enough because the Kool-Aid man would just bust through. So we need this accessibility to be limited to who's supposed to be allowed in, and that's what doors with locks are for. You control who can get in and who cannot. So security is just a matter of keeping confidentiality up to the level you want, integrity up to the level you want, and accessibility at the level you want. You want to be allowed to have some people in, some people out. That's security in general. What is it in the case of cybersecurity? What is it to keep a computer network secure or a computer secure? Same principles. So when you say your computer is secure, you mean that nobody knows what's happening in your computer who you don't want getting in there. And not only that, you don't have anyone in there who is fiddling with your data that is stored in there.
And it's like, in order to ensure the security, you have to have 3 of them together, not like one by one.
Yeah, exactly. If somebody can get into your computer, even if they don't change anything in your computer, they still know what's in there and you aren't secure. It's in the same way that even if somebody trespasses in your apartment and doesn't touch anything, there's still a sense in which you weren't secure. They now know a lot about you, like where you keep, like, if I got access to your apartment, I could learn such useful information as like what drawer you keep the cereal in. I'm not sure what I'd do with that, but that's something I could learn. Alternatively, I could, even somebody who doesn't have much information, if you get inside, you can break things. So you could just go in there and just start smashing stuff. That would keep things from being, having integrity, or being, basically, stuff would be broken. And that means you would lack integrity. And then accessibility, the most secure computer in the world would be one which nobody could access. What's the problem with a computer that nobody can access?
Some people need to access it.
Yeah, what good is your computer if you can't open it? Like, yes, your files are safe from everybody, including yourself. Like, this is not a very useful thing. So what you need to do is make sure that you can access what you need to access. So with files, you don't want anyone to see what's on the file. Say you're working for a company that's designing say you're working for Intel, you're designing a new processor. You don't want anyone to know what this processor's like before it hits the market because some other company might steal your information. So you need to make sure that it's confidential. Nobody else sees what's in those files. Not only that, you don't want somebody going in and messing with the files. Because, like, what's the best way to make somebody very mad or mess with their project? To go in and change things. So if you ever want to lose a friend really quickly, when they leave their computer open and they're writing a document, just Control F that, change the replace, and replace all the words the with and then hit enter, and then watch and laugh as they have to go back in and manually change them all. But yeah, so that's exact. And why would you be so mad? Because I've just messed with the integrity of your data. And also, though, you need to make sure that the engineers have access to that data. So that's all, at the end of the day. Cybersecurity is just regular security applied to cyber. So there's going to be two separate things we're talking about in this class and the next one. One is keeping cyber technology secure, and the other is the way in which cyber has affected security more generally. So it's not just that we want to keep our computers secure. What else do we want to keep secure? Your information, and what else? Go back to the zombie apocalypse. Your bodies, your nations, your companies, your families. Cyber not only is something that needs to be kept secure, the existence of cyber has fundamentally changed how you keep your country and yourself and the people around you secure. So that's what we're going to be talking about next time, is what have the effects of cyber been on what it is for things like war. What is war in an age in which the line between private hacker and government act of aggression is much more blurry. But then for this class and the start of next class, we're just going to talk about what is it to keep cyber secure and why is it so important, but also why is it so damn hard. Because the number one thing you know about computers is that they get hacked. So everyone on board with what we're going to be talking about? We're just going to spend the rest of the class just answering this simple question. Why is cybersecurity so bad? So first off, name a hack that you've seen in the news. Trojan. So what was a Trojan hack? How does it work? Or give me an example of one. Does anyone know? Well, first off, let's do a little Greek mythology. What was the Trojan horse?
It was like a present from.
Okay. So here's the back.
A big present with.
People
They,
inside it.
yeah,
Yeah.
people was
Here's the
inside.
basic idea. Big mythical war. The Greeks and the Trojans were fighting. They fought for 10 years. They were tired of fighting. The Greeks wanted the war over. So they came up with a brilliant idea, which was to build a big, pretty wooden horse and pretend that they left it there as like a present to the Trojans for winning. They put it outside the gates. What did the Trojans do with this big wooden horse? They rolled it into their castle. Once it was in the castle, what did it turn out was hiding inside of the horse? People, Greek soldiers who jumped out, opened the gates, the Greeks won the war. So it's something which looks perfectly mundane and perfectly safe, and it on the inside is really something quite dangerous, which also presumably is the reason that that's the name of the condom company as well. Same general idea. Thing, yeah.
I need an explanation.
But yeah, so that's the general idea: is that you have something which can cause damage hidden in something which is not causing damage, or looks like it wouldn't cause damage. So that's the general idea behind this. So that is what a Trojan is. It's a piece of malicious data, and by malicious we mean can cause damage, that looks like something perfectly mundane. So what are some other sorts of, or what are examples of Trojans being used, or other types of hacks or attacks or things that you've heard of? Or just name companies you know have been hacked. Yeah, PlayStation. The PlayStation Network was hacked, and a lot of information about people's PlayStation accounts, what games they had, and quite possibly credit card information was stolen. What are some more? How many of you have been hacked personally or had a family member hacked? Or had your credit card information stolen? Or had interactions with a bank or company who had your credit card information online and was hacked? Okay, those of you who aren't raising your hands, you're just not paying close enough attention. You have been. Like, there's only two types of people. There's people who've been hacked and people who don't realize they've been hacked. At some point, your information has been stolen. So, how do people get this information? Things like Trojans. Why is cybersecurity so hard? Well, for one thing, how many of you, if you were sent an attachment right now, would be able to look at it and tell whether it was a malicious program or not? Raise them up. I know I would not. But how many of you think you could identify certain types of malicious programs? Okay, so some of you have the technical expertise. How many of you are computer science majors, by the way? Okay, so the majority of computer science majors can identify them. Unsurprising. How many of you think your families could? Yeah. So here's one thing, is cybersecurity is just technically very difficult. So So the main ways that cybersecurity breaches happen is you are provided with something which the average person doesn't realize is malicious, and they're not able to tell it's malicious because they don't have the technical expertise to recognize. The other main way is there are bugs found in things like operating systems or software programs or anything else. Why are these bugs there?
You cannot get rid of them.
Yeah, bugs are like what is the number one thing you know about cockroaches in New York City? Kill a cockroach, what happens? 10 more come. There's no way of killing all of the bugs. This is the same thing as part of the reason why they're called bugs with computers, is you cannot get rid of them all. If you're dealing with something like an operating system, you're hundreds of thousands of lines of code, all of which is written in a language which is not English, it is written in a coding language, and the odds are somebody somewhere along the way made a mistake. Very often, totally harmless. But the chances are that anything that's released is going to have some bug in it that somebody, if they find that bug and has the technical expertise, can know how to break into. And so that's why you constantly are getting updates for things like your operating system, because there are bugs in an operating system when it's released, and those bugs will be found, and once they're found, they need to be patched so that the next one. But it's just a game of whack-a-mole. How many people play whack-a-mole at the arcade? What is it? Yeah, it's this game in which literally there are little mechanical moles that hide under here, and they go, ah! And then you have to hit them with a hammer, and then they go down. But the moment you hit one, what happens? A different one pops up, and you get a high score by hitting them all. And eventually the time runs out, and then the game's over. But in real life, imagine it just went on forever, and that's what bug fixing is. And that's why it's just incredibly technically difficult to make sure there are no bugs. And if there are bugs, most people aren't going to even be aware that they're there. So that's one issue. It's just very technically difficult. This is one we're not going to talk about all that much because, amongst other people who don't have the technical expertise to talk about them, is me. So we're going to put this one to a side. What are 3 more reasons that it's very, very difficult to keep cyber networks secure?
It's metaphysical.
Yeah, so metaphysical physics of network. You know what? We're just going to say I don't want to have to explain what metaphysics are.
It's not physical.
Yeah, it's basically the laws of time and space are different. What is it which makes a computer system so damn powerful? What is it that makes the internet so useful? Why is the internet so much nicer than... if you needed to write a research paper, would you rather have your cell phone or the library? Your cell phone. Why? It's faster.
It's more accessible.
You can get to it from anywhere.
And
You can write in specific things and get specific responses.
and it's portable, of course.
Yeah, and it's portable. You can get so much more information so quickly at such faster speeds. In the same way, though, if you want to access something you aren't allowed to, or not supposed to access, you are not limited by space or time. So you can access Wikipedia from anywhere, which also means you can access your email from everywhere, which means somebody else can access your email from anywhere. So just the amount of access that people have to computer systems is so much higher. Go back to the cloud. If everything is stored on a physical hard drive, to access that physical hard drive, what do you have to do? Imagine no internet connectivity, no anything. You just have an external hard drive. What do you have to do?
You have to take the hard drive somewhere.
You got to take it out, plug it in. The cloud. You can access the cloud from anywhere, so anyone can hack the cloud from anywhere. This was the other year when all those celebrities had those nude photos of them leaked. Do people remember this? It's because all those photos were automatically uploaded to the cloud from their cell phones. So one person figured out how to access the cloud, all of a sudden all the nudes were out there. You didn't have this sort of problem before the cloud. Somebody would have had to actually grab a celebrity's cell phone that had, well, there weren't phones, they would have had to find their nude photo collection, which was much harder before the cloud. Well, here's another issue which kind of ties in with both of these. show me the thing which keeps this room the safest. We've already talked about it. Wall. This is the wall and the door. You see it. If suddenly there were a giant hole in it, would you notice? Yes, if the Kool-Aid Man broke in. There would be a big hole in the door. With the internet, it's not always clear where the holes are, which goes back to the technical expertise, but also when there are holes, the size of the hole in the network is not proportionate to how much damage something can do. So, to get into this room right now, name some things which we wouldn't necessarily want in here that could probably sneak in. Like, if the room right now, there might be an intruder right now, what would they be like? Describe them. How many legs would they have?
4.
4 might. What's even more likely?
None.
None is definitely possible. 2. Who's sneaking in here with 2 legs in the current moment in time? Where's the person getting in from? No, the door, right now, the door is locked. How is this intruder getting in? No, I'm just busting your shop. I mean, I guess a really little person. Most likely, how many legs do they have?
Either multiple.
So many.
So many or 6. Why?
Bugs.
Bugs, yeah, there's small gaps they can sneak through. If a bug gets in, we might freak out, but can it just cause utter chaos? You know who's not breaking in? A drunken elephant. How come the drunken elephant's not getting in?
How does that?
The drunken elephant cannot get in. But you know, if it got in, what would cause more damage? 1 cockroach or a drunken elephant? A drunken elephant. Now imagine that a cockroach snuck in and then turned into a drunken elephant. That's computers. Computers, you can get in through a tiny little gap, but as soon as you're inside, you can do so much more damage. So in the same way that you can, like, cockroaches are getting into your house, but they can get into your food, but they're not going to, like, destroy everything. But a drunken elephant could. Now imagine that cockroach turns into the drunken elephant, then it's all chaos. That's what somebody getting into your computer is, because as soon as they're inside, the fact that they snuck in, they now have as much control, not in terms of how big they were physically, but in terms of how much expertise they have with computers. And the more expertise you have, that's what gives you control over the inside of a network. So if you know what you're doing, you have so much power to damage everything. And here's another issue, and this goes back to what we were talking about before. To get into John Jay, what do you have to do? Oh, sorry, I mean physically the building. To get into the new building, what do you have to do?
ID card.
ID card, you walk in. Imagine that you are somebody who really needs to go to the bathroom, and you don't have an ID card, but you know John Jay's here. So what you do is you just like very awkwardly get up close to somebody who does have an ID card, and then when they swipe, you just scoot past them, and you get inside the building. Now that you're in here, what can you do now that you're in here? You can use the bathroom, but say you want to go in the library. No, you need to show the ID card again. Also, if you've never been in this building before, what is the #1 sign that you've never been in this building before? You're just going to roam around looking totally clueless. And probably, odds are, somebody's going to eventually, like security's going to be like, why are you walking around like an idiot in the middle of